Hello everyone, welcome you all in a video lecture series related to heat and mass transfer. We are dealing with heat exchanger chapter. Today in this lecture we are going to discuss about the heat pipe. So this is the special type of a heat exchanger. The application, one can say that, where the area available for the heat transfer is very less and requirement to transfer the maximum amount of heat, that is nothing but requirement is that the maximum amount of heat flux should be achieved. So in this case this special type of heat exchangers can be used. So a heat pipe is the simplest device with no moving parts that can be transfer large quantity of heat at a constant temperature without requiring any power input. So in this particular heat exchanger we does not require any external power to produce the work, and there is no moving part inside this particular heat exchanger. Okay, so its performance is very calm, and it requires very less space as compared to other heat exchangers. So it is device that make use of change of phase to transfer the heat. Okay, so in this particular device the heat is transferred because of a phase change, okay, at the saturation temperature of a liquid or a saturation temperature of a vapor, and it is composed of three sections. First one is the evaporator section, second one is a condenser section, and third one is a adiabatic section. Now construction features of this particular heat pipe. Okay, so heat pipe basically looks like this. Okay, so there is one concentric tube, one can say that it is one kind of a concentric tube it looks like, and it is sealed at the both the ends. Okay, now this particular upper tube, or we can say that this tube is called as a envelope or a container. Okay, so this is the this tube is nothing but one kind of a shield which protect the internal structure from the external environment. Okay, so tube, main part is tube, it is called as an envelope or a container. Okay, seal the outer wall that contains weak structure and a working fluid. Now inside that particular tube there is one structure, okay, or the surface of the tube having some structure. It must be a mesh type of a structure, or the porous structure which is called as a wick. Then the working fluid is there. Okay, so here you can see that the vapor type of a working fluid is we can see. So working fluid will be present in a two state, that is nothing but liquid and vapor. Then the main components of this particular heat pipe is nothing but, first one is a container or envelope, then second one is a wick structure or a porous structure, then third one is a working fluid. Now this particular heat exchanger have been divided into a three parts, that is nothing but first one is evaporative section, second one is the adiabatic section, and third one is a condensation section. Now this external shell you can see that, so this is nothing but a container or an envelope. Okay, and inside that all the construction is included for that particular heat pipe. Now this mesh type of structure, here you can see that this mesh type of structure is called as a wick structure. Okay, and the liquid flows inside that particular wick structure. Okay, now what is the function of a container or envelope? A circular pipe which is sealed at both the end has a layer of wicking material covering the inside surface. It is evacuated and filled partially with working fluid. Okay, so one tube type of structure is there, and which is sealed at the both the ends. Okay, and before sealing it is evacuated. Means what? The atmospheric pressure, whatever the pressure will be there, it will be removed out, the air will be removed out from that particular section. So the vacuum will be created inside the tube, and after that this particular tube is sealed, completely sealed from the both the ends. Okay, so that this particular container work as a shield, or we can say that which will cover the inside structure from the external environment. The function of the container is to isolate the working fluid from the outside environment. Then next one is a weak structure. Here you can see the figure of, or the image of a weak structure. So there is the external surface is nothing but a tube or a container or envelope, and inside surface of that particular tube is covered with a porous structure material, okay, or a mesh structure material. So that material is called as a wick. Okay, so it is a porous structure made of materials like steel, aluminum, nickel or copper in various ranges of pore size. Pore size means what? The whole size present inside that particular material, that is nothing but pore size. It is available on different sizes also, and on the basis of that sizes, the effectiveness of that heat exchanger depends. The prime purpose of a wick is to generate capillary pressure to transfer the working fluid from the condenser to the evaporator. So in the upcoming slide we will come to know that the meaning of this particular sentence, but for here, for your information purpose, I would like to tell you that this particular wick structure is used to transfer the liquid from the condenser section to the evaporative section. Okay, from condenser section to the evaporative section. Now the third construction feature or of this particular heat pipe is nothing but working fluid. So working fluid have some specific qualities, that is nothing but prime requirement to use that particular fluid or that particular material as a working fluid in a tube heat exchanger or a heat pipe should have this following requirement. So first one is nothing but it should be compatible with wick and wall material, then good thermal stability, then it should be wettable of wick and wall material, then vapor pressure not too high or low over the operating temperature range, then the high latent heat should be there, then high thermal conductivity of that particular material should be there, then low liquid and vapor viscosity should have that particular material, then high surface tension should have that particular material, and acceptable freezing or pour point should be there. Now here I have mentioned some of the materials and their melting point, boiling point and useful range in a heat exchanger in that particular heat pipe. Here the first one is helium. Okay, so its melting point is minus 271, boiling point is minus 261, and useful range is in between minus 271 to minus 269. Then nitrogen melting point is minus 210, boiling point minus 196, and useful range is in between minus 203 to minus 160. Then ethanol melting point is minus 112, then boiling point is 78, and useful range is 0 to 130. Water melting point 0, boiling point 100, and useful range is in between 30 to 200. Then mercury melting point is minus 39, boiling point is 361, useful range in between 250 to 650. Sodium melting point 98, boiling point 892, useful range in between 600 to 1200. Then methanol melting point is 98, boiling point is 64, and useful range is in between 10 degrees Celsius to 130 degrees Celsius. So these are some of the materials which can be used or specifically used in heat pipes at different applications. Then working of a heat pipe. Okay, as we have already mentioned that the heat pipe is divided into three sections. The first section is nothing but evaporative section, which is placed at near to the heat source. Okay, near to the heat source, so that this particular evaporative section can capture the heat from that particular heat source. Then the another end of the heat pipe is nothing but condenser section, which is placed at the heat sink. Okay, which will lose the condenser, which will transfer the heat to the heat sinks. Okay, and the in between section, in between evaporative section and condensation section, whatever the length is there, that particular section is called as a adiabatic section. Okay, now here it is provided that the inner surface thickness, we can say that it is a weak section through, or the porous section, or we can say that it is a mesh type of structure. Then this tube is made up of copper. Okay, then as the heat source generating the heat, then this particular heat will be provided to this particular evaporative section. Now in the weak structure over here, in a evaporative section, in a weak structure, liquid is present. Okay, or working fluid in a liquid format present in this particular evaporative section. As the heat received by this particular section, the liquid will convert into vapor. Okay, and it will be come to this particular center of this particular heat pipe, and because of vapor pressure difference, it will start flowing from this section to the condenser section. Okay, once it reached to this particular condenser section, it will transfer the latent heat of condensation to the sink. Okay, to the sinks. Okay, so heat will be removed at this particular condenser section from the liquid, and it will transfer to the sink. Okay, and once again, as this particular liquid transfer its latent heat of condensation, so it will once again condense, and the condensation form, or the condensed liquid will be captured by the weak structure. Now here is the important role of a weak structure. Now this weak structure will transfer, this particular weak structure will transfer the liquid or a working fluid in a liquid format to the evaporative section by capillary action. Okay, by capillary action. So once again, the liquid will present in a evaporative section in a weak structure in a liquid format. Okay, so once again the cycle will repeat. Now here in the middle of this particular evaporative section and condenser section, the vapor will flowing in this direction, whereas the liquid is flowing opposite to the vapor direction. Okay, through the weak structure, and there is no heat transfer in between this particular liquid and vapor in this particular adiabatic section. So here in detail, in a sentence format, I have provided. So what is happening in evaporative section, what is happening in condenser section, and what is happening in adiabatic section. So evaporative section, at one end where is the heat source is there, where the heat is absorbed and the fluid is vaporized. Okay, so working fluid present in the weak structure, or a mesh structure, or a porous structure, it will get evaporated in the evaporator section. Then in condenser section, at another end where the vapor is condensed and heat is rejected to the heat sink. Okay, then in adiabatic section, the section present in between evaporative section and the condenser section is called as the adiabatic section in a heat pipe, in between where the vapor and the liquid phases of the fluid flows in opposite direction through the core and the wick respectively. Then when heat is added to one end of the pipe, that is nothing but in the evaporator, the liquid is vaporized in the wick and the vapor moves to the central core. Due to the vapor pressure difference, vapor moves to condenser section. At the other end of the pipe, the heat is removed, that is in a condenser section heat is removed and the vapor condenses back into the wick. Okay, once the heat will be removed from that particular vapor, it loses its latent heat of condensation and once again it will get condensed in a wick structure. Then liquid is replenished in a evaporator section by capillary action by wick structure. Okay, once the liquid get captured by the wick structure, that will be transferred once again to the evaporative section by the capillary action of that particular wick structure. So the next one is the effect of gravity. We know that the capillary action is affected by the gravitational forces. So in the same manner, the most important function in this particular heat pipe or heat pipe heat exchanger is nothing but the capillary action, that is nothing but fluid transformation from the condensation section to the evaporative section, and it is done by the wick structure. So that this particular performance of this particular heat pipe is also affected by the gravitational force. So this shows that the height against gravity. Okay, so the elevation of the heat pipe, one end will shows that the height against the gravity. Now if you raise this side, evaporative side, about against the gravitational pull, then it will require more force, or its performance will get deteriorated. Whereas if you raise the condenser side, okay, so the more liquid will flow towards the evaporative section, so that the if you raise the condenser section against the gravity, then the performance of heat pipe also increases. The heat pipe may be tilted so that the condenser is at a higher elevation than the evaporator. In this case, the action of a gravity serves to speed the flow of liquid down through the wicking material. This is called as a favorable tilt. It is called as a favorable tilt if you raise the condenser section above the evaporative section. And in contrast, when the condenser is placed at a lower elevation than the evaporator, the action of gravity will impede the flow of liquid in the wick and the heat pipe is said to have an adverse tilt. It gives maximum efficiency when it is vertical. So vertical in such a manner that condensation section should be at the top and the evaporative section should be at the bottom. So if you make it vertical in this manner, then it gives maximum efficiency. Okay, then what are the applications of this particular heat pipe? So the application nowadays, we know that the electronic devices are more and more compact, and the heat flux in that particular device, we can say that with very small area we need to reduce we have to take the maximum amount of heat from that particular devices. So we require such a device which will occupy very less area and will transfer a lot of amount of heat from the source to the sink. So such case of compact, we know that the computers are there where the resistors present in the computers, in the laptops, and that resistor generate the heat, and that heat we have to remove out from that particular place, and we have to transfer that heat to the where the fan is placed. So for that purpose we require this particular heat pipe. Then in a solar system, to increase the efficiency of a solar system, we need to use the nowadays we are using this particular type of a pipe type solar collectors, and in between in that particular glass type of pipes, there are heat pipes present over there to increase the efficiency of that particular solar system. Then in case of aerospace, we need to in case of aerospace, in aviations, these heat pipes can be used for air conditioning purpose and to transfer the heat from one location to another location. Then in industries, to recover the maximum amount of thermal energy from the waste heat, for the waste heat recovery, we need to use, or the industries are using this large kind of heat pipes. Okay, thank you.